Journeys is recorded at Doghouse Studios. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube to keep the conversation going. Remember, if you like the content, like the content. Hello, and welcome back to Journeys. Today is April 20th. Haha, blaze it. And I am Chad Jones. Great intro, lots of energy. How are you doing today? Great as always. Excellent. Let's get into the episode. So, this week we've been talking about resilience and the ability to kind of bounce back. We actually had a lot of comments. We had 3 comments on this. And I kind of want to kind of go through them bit by bit because there's a lot of things I can extrapolate from them, take out from them, and put into this episode. So let's just start with Amanda. Amanda's comment was basically a quick little thing about how she's long-term resilient and how over the course of her life being able to just pick herself back up and taking care of her siblings, her mother, her family, when she could have given up and just kept going is proof of resiliency. And her, like, that's incredible. Being resilient for your family is probably not only one of the hardest things to do, but also one of the most, I guess, unrecognized things, because sometimes your family isn't super grateful. Even in the moment, they don't really understand the context or how deep or how difficult it is to be taken care of, and how hard it is to put that burden on someone else, and to be able to say, hey, like, I got to take care of this, especially at a young age. Like, good on you. Good resiliency. That's a great example of resiliency. Good job, Amanda. Rob. Oh my goodness. Rob's is kind of funny. It's always the same. Like, him saying he's resilient is the only reason he survived. And how many times he's been knocked back up and gotten back down is just proof that he has that resiliency. But he ends his comment by saying, like, you know what, I'm down and I'm just going to feel down. I'm just going to let myself feel down. And I mean, maybe that's part of the process. Maybe it's part of his process. But the fact that he keeps getting up every morning and keeps on ticking, that's resiliency in a completely different light. That's the resiliency to fight through the hopelessness, meaninglessness of the world sometimes. And again, I'm great comments. Finally, we got one from Curtis Batten. This is Bert. Yeah, so he definitely got the shout out, and he says that there's definitely days he doesn't have the drive, but he keeps showing up every day, and that's the most resilient part. Goes back to that quote from BoJack that everyone likes to say, you know, you got to do it every day. That's the hard part. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing way too much because it is a very deep line. It's too early for me to remember it. But yeah, thank you for all the comments. That it's just great to see the conversation continue. Able to take what I'm talking about and have other people make comments is great. Thank you guys so much. But today, I want to expand on my definition of resiliency, which is, again, the ability to kind of take a loss and come back. It's the ability to take mental trauma, physical trauma, just anything above your normal day-to-day that could drastically affect you. It's the ability to take that, say, okay, I'm going to take this hit. This sucks. What am I going to do about it? So, I didn't have the greatest day at work yesterday. It was just a very long day, but at about 5:20-ish, I get a pickup. I say, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm downtown Toronto. They say, okay, cool. I'll be right back to the yard, which assuming means from my destination to where I'm going, there's something along the way. They're like, on the way back to yard, go here. I looked at it. My GPS said an hour and 15 minutes at 5 o'clock when I started at 7. I'm like, okay, I've already been here 10 and a half hours. This is going to push my day to like a 12-hour day. I was like, guys, are you sure? Like, is there nothing else that I can pick up closer on the way? And they put me on hold. Another guy picks up. He's like, no, they're open till 9. Go get it. And hangs up. A little rude. Pissed me off a little bit, but hey, it happens. So I was angry. I drove the whole way there, all the way from downtown to Vaughan, to Woodbridge actually. So not quite as far, but still pain. And I'm like talking to my wife, like I'm on the phone with her, like this is BS, like so frustrating. I thought I was gonna be going home and seeing my kids, blah blah blah. Drive all the way there. As I'm pulling into the yard, the sun comes out. There's a rainbow. I'm like, okay, maybe, you know what, maybe this isn't so bad. Then I get out of the truck and I go to the back door and there's a sign on it. And of course I leave my phone in the truck because it's my GPS and it lives in the truck. So I go to the door and of course the door is locked and it says call this number, and the sun lied and the rainbow lied. It was not nice. It was still freezing. The wind was horrible. My lack of hair now that I got a haircut, and it was just freezing. I was like to the bone getting chilled. Went back to the van. Went back to the truck, got my phone, walk over to the door, pick it up, call the number. Oh, your package has already been picked up. Pardon me? Yeah, your package was already picked up. You know, come and check. Look around this warehouse. This is a huge warehouse. Look around the loading dock. There's no paperwork or anything. He's like, yeah, someone here took it. All I can say to anyone is, thank you, sir. That is not a waste of time. That was not a waste of all this this trip, but thank you. Again, it would be more comedic if it wasn't so tragic. But yeah, I call my dispatch. My dispatch is like, oh, no, who told you that? And I was like, hey, what's your name? And he's like, oh, this is my name. I was like, this guy. They're like, oh, okay, come back. Like, not even like they already had somebody. They yelled at me to go get it. They already got somebody to go get it. But at no point could they communicate, hey, this has already been picked up. Go get it. Or this has already been picked up. Don't get it. Like, at no point could they call me and be like, hey, don't worry about it. We already got it done. And when I talked to the guy at the dock, he's like, oh yeah, this happens like once a week. Once a week? You what? Anyways, so that was my day yesterday, and now my goal today is to still go back to work and pretend like none of that happened. Like, this extra 2 hours added onto my day for no reason. The gas that I spent, the time that I spent away from my kids, all of that. It's just nothing. It's just irrelevant. So, yeah, that's my resiliency right now. Is I just have to go back today and pretend like nothing happened, and put a smile on my face and eat their shit. Oh, no. That's resiliency today, is being able to bounce back. And I'm bouncing back from, I mean, the day was okay, but it was just a lot of pickups, long days where they're like, okay, you start at 9, but we're going to ask you to come in a couple hours early. And in my head, I'm like, okay, that means I'm going to leave at least half an hour early. No, you're going to stay later than you've ever stayed because we're just that busy. And I can see why turnover happens. I really can, because it doesn't matter how busy you are. If you're stretching your employees for 12 hours a day, from like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, every day, like, soon it's going to be a full day just added on to my week. And it's just frustrating. It's just very frustrating. But with that, I'm going to take a small break, recalibrate my thoughts, come back with a different energy in the second half. Thanks, guys. Okay, cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I hope it wasn't too far, I wasn't too angry, but yeah, I'm going back to work today, so it all works out in the wash, right? And as everyone keeps reminding me, at least you get paid hourly. It's like one of my least favorite expressions in general is just like, at least you get paid hourly. It's like, yeah, you're right. But those hours I'm getting paid, I don't get back with my family. So it's like you just sold yourself for like 20 some odd bucks an hour. You know, is that really worth it? Anyway, that's my thought on that, but we're going to move on. Resiliency. What's some other resilient elements? I mean, I was looking at resiliency and looking at like kind of the inverse of it, and it was kind of like stubbornness, or I don't know. For me, resiliency and then like stagnation kind of go together in like not complete polar opposites, but like on the opposite spectrum. It's like you can be resilient or you can stagnate in whatever dark place you're in. And I don't know. I think it does take a lot of resiliency to take yourself out of like a mental health struggle, because it's like anything. It's like if you have an injury, and let's say your arm's injured, and you're like, oh, if I keep doing my arm thing, I'm gonna just make it worse, so I can't do my arm thing. But it's very easy to see like, oh, I have a cast on my arm. I feel it. Everything feels different. My arm itself is just no good. My elbow feel funny. All those things. And with that, it's kind of something you can visualize. Whereas with like mental health, it's like my brain no work good. That's actually not necessarily what my brain does. My brain is like, you suck. And then it'll say how much I suck over and over again. And yesterday, I mean, there's even thoughts yesterday at work when I was kind of bad, where it's like, hey, everything would be so much easier if you just killed yourself. And I was like, okay, brain. Okay, I see your game here. I see what you don't want me to do. Your reverse psychology worked. Good job, brain. It's always good when your dark thoughts are trying to give you reverse psychology. It's like, haha, I tricked you. You're still alive. And yeah, so, I mean, to sit and dwell in something, I mean, there's points in it, and I think I'm still like in a lull and dwelling on things. I don't know why. I think it's laziness more or less than like true apathy towards it, but I don't know. I just feel like I gotta pick myself up still now. I still feel like there's points in my life and points where I'm not resilient enough. And I mean, like, yeah, I have kids, but like to be more resilient, to take on more. I mean, there's something with resiliency and like attendance, and resiliency and showing up, right? Like Bert said, like showing up every day is very, very important. And not only is it super important to show up every day and be a part of whatever you're doing, whether that's work, community, like your life purpose, whatever that is. Being resilient and showing up every day kind of go hand in hand together. But I think it's more than just showing up every day. It's that mindset of like, okay, whatever just happened, whatever happened, let's take what we can. Again, take those lessons, pull from it what you can control, what you could have changed in your control. And on the other hand, kind of forgetting the things that you couldn't control, take away the things that, you know, aren't necessarily within that realm of interference. Like you couldn't change those things. You gotta forget those. Oh my god. And speaking of things to forget, geez, I had I had quite a stomach turning moment at work. So I don't really trust the condition of the trucks, even though I check them and I do stuff. But I'm driving driving down the DVP towards Toronto to my second last delivery from, again, like way uptown. So I don't know. See, if I was anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go on a tangent I don't want to talk about. But I'm driving, and there's a police officer that kind of goes up and goes into his own lane, does his own thing. I pay no attention to him. Whatever. It is what it is. But then as we're like going up a hill, I'm like starting to fall behind because my truck is heavy and it doesn't accelerate up a hill proper. And then this police officer is kind of like, he slows down to kind of like, give himself a lot of room in front. And I was like, okay, that's odd. Cool, but I'm just going to keep doing my thing, driving up the hill. And obviously, like, I always see police officers and I'm just nervous that I'm doing something wrong and that they're going to be like, haha, I caught you. You're an imposter. Here's a ticket for just being an imposter. And I'd be like, okay. Like that, it's always like a fear of mine that I'm doing something wrong. So this guy then slows all the way down. As I drive past him, I'm like, cool, whatever. Just keep going. And he turns on his lights. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting pulled over in a truck. Jeez, this is my license. I just don't trust the trucks to not have something wrong where they're like, haha, I caught you. Your truck is the wrong color. Your truck is supposed to be baby pink. Instead, it's dark fuchsia. That's a ticket for you. So this guy's lights are on, and he like pulls up behind me, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm getting pulled over. So I turn on my signal and I start pulling over. My stomach just drops like, oh, this is my license. Bye-bye, license. And again, it's not for any reason in particular other than like I'm just that paranoid person. When it comes to police, like, I don't know, they have a lot of power where they can like really fuck you over. And yeah, so I'm like, I start to turn over and then he like just whips around and I'm like, okay, I'll get back in my lane, just move over for this police officer, drives by me, doesn't even look at me, just whips off the highway, books it onto Winford Drive, gone. And I was like, oh my God. Whew, all right. I should really put this cocaine away though. Oh man. That, yeah. And I mean, even with what I do, like sometimes the freight is sketchy and I'm worried like, oh, I like the thing is with MTO and with oh my God, with the provincial police, OPP, and the police in general, is that like they can pull you over and look at the back of your truck and like, oh my God, that is not packed proper. Here's a ticket. Oh look, your brakes are not right. Here's a ticket. Oh look, I don't like your face. Go to jail. Just straight to jail. I don't think the story necessarily has anything to do with resilience other than like it's like getting into a car accident or pulled or getting a ticket when you are driving. Getting back behind the wheel is very hard and it does take time and it does require like a certain resilience. But for the most part, yeah. I think today I'm just going in with that mentality of like yesterday happened, here's what I can control, which isn't a lot other than my truck and driving it safely. And everything else is just out of my control. I'm just at work until I'm done and I just have to deal with it. So, but other than 2 really long days in a row, I'm hoping that I can finish my book at work today, maybe get a nap in. Lofty goals. But yeah, I guess I need a question of the day. What should I ask, Callie? What should I ask? You're useless. You don't say anything this morning. Okay, here's the question. What is a point that you can recognize and achieve for yourself that you fell down hard, you got back up and succeeded and had a victory? So I guess to restate that in a proper English way, I want to know, at what point did you have a major setback, you got back up, and that led to a major victory? I just want to know. But I think that's today's episode. I mean, the outro music is coming. I'm not going to edit it today. And usually I cut it up and I say, okay, bye-bye, guys. But I think for now, yeah, I got a lot off my plate. I feel a lot better. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, like, comment, subscribe. This has been Journeys. I'm Chad Jones. And for Wednesday, April 20th, take a big ol' hit on a joint for me. I'm just kidding. Have a good time. I will talk to you on another time.